Welcome to the Mr. Skin Podcast, your weekly dose of what's new and what's nude in movies, TV, and Hollywood's sexiest stars. Now get ready for your host, the world's foremost authority on celebrity nudity, Mr. Skin.
Legendary Mr. Skin.
Dude, Mr. Skin.
MrSkin.com.
Skin, everybody.
Coast to coast, from Los Angeles, Chicago, and New York, it's the Mr. Skin Podcast with your hosts, Mr. Skin and Andrea Lowell. We want to hear from you. Call the show and leave us a voicemail at 484-SKIN-POD. Find all things Mr. Skin Podcast online at MrSkinPodcast.com.
Hey everyone, welcome to the Mr. Skin Podcast, sponsored by Stream8.com, the global leader in live streaming. With the hottest porn stars and amateurs broadcasting live directly from their bedroom to yours, Stream8 creates a totally unique and intimate experience where you get to direct the show however you want. With an endless variety of performers, you're sure to find your perfect match on Stream8.com. The question is, are you ready? Welcome to the show.
Hey, Andrea. Yeah, just real quick before we get going. How cool is it? These monster adult companies advertising it on the Mr. Skin podcast. I'm very honored. These are only the big boys. Only the big boys are. This isn't ma and pa websites that are advertising here.
No, that's just badass. It just shows you how much you're respected. You know what I mean?
No,
it's a beautiful
really
thing.
Cool. Really cool. So, anyway, now, Andrea, do you know what episode this is?
I do, and I'm super pumped because I think we're going to get a little naughtier than we normally do,
yes.
And I'm always down to get a little naughtier.
Well, we were thinking about this when it was like episode 67 or episode 68. We have to do something special for episode 69, and lo and behold, I decided for this episode I'm going to take a pause on the TV nudity. I'll catch up in episode 70, and I'll let you know what we're going to talk about at the end of this. But listen, man, you don't do an episode 69 every week, and I'm very proud to say that today we're going to do the well, what I did is I put together my 5 favorite 69 scenes for our 69th episode, but this is really kind of a going down edition of the podcast. So I'm not only doing my 5 favorite 69 scenes, I'm also doing my 5 favorite celebrity BJ scenes, and also my top celebs getting gone down on scenes. So this is all about going down for our 69th episode, and this is awesome. Yeah, it was a lot of fun for me to put this together, and we'll go through this. But Andrea, let's talk a little about, it's interesting, the history of going down, or the 69s in movies and television. It really is. Obviously, there's been sex scenes for a while in movies and television, but actually the good stuff, when people ask me, when did sex and nudity in U.S. cinema really kick in? It really was around the early 60s. Promises with Jane Mansfield is one of the first, but we didn't get this in the 40s and 50s. And remember, like when Humphrey Bogart and Lauren Bacall were passionately kissing and heading for the bedroom back in the 40s, everybody knew what was going on, but no one ever saw it, right? So exactly. Really, and when it comes to going down, that's a whole other level. So yeah, we started to have sex and things, but going down, like you can actually see the celebrity blowing a guy, or a guy going down on a girl. That just did not happen. Even in the 60s, it was very rare. I remember, if you think about it, though, just for society too, it wasn't taboo just in the movies, but it's been I don't know if you even knew this, but I did a little research. Oral sex is actually, it's still technically illegal in 13 states. I know Massachusetts, Texas.
But you can fuck a horse, though, right?
Oh, well, that's it. Let's not ruin our fun here.
But you know what I'm saying? These sex laws are so ass backward.
Yeah, no pun intended. And even with consenting adults in 13 states, including, let's say, Massachusetts, Texas, and believe it or not, Florida, it is illegal for consenting adults to have oral sex. That's true. And Of course, these laws are never enforced.
Lock me up.
But it just shows that oral sex still, it's a forbidden thing. It's still like something that, even in this day and age, is something you don't see a lot. And I remember.
Now, do you think that's because, I don't mean to cut you off, but do you think that's because of the religious issue of like, we shouldn't be having any sort of sexual relations unless it's for procreation, and there's really absolutely no chance of procreation with like sucking some dick, for example,
Yeah, I don't know. Yeah, I'm sure, religion plays a part in that. There's no question.
I just can't see why that would be illegal at all.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, but don't forget, these were on the books so long ago that probably everything was illegal. They just slowly started chipping away at it. But
gotcha.
It was Puritan country, man. That's that's the way it was. But so I remember. Here's something interesting. Do you remember? You're way younger than me, and I don't even remember when this came out, but I do remember. I've seen it, and it's at MrSkin.com, and it's a very famous movie. It's from the 1960s. It was called I Am Curious Yellow. It was a Swedish movie from about 1967. It was a huge hit worldwide because of the sex and nudity. I even want to say that it was somewhat of a documentary, though it was more of a movie than a documentary. But the star of the show, it was very art house, let's put it that way. The star of the show, or the movie, was Lena Nyman. And this was a big controversy back in 1967 because her and this guy were outside. They're like in the grass, naked, and they were, her head was by his penis and his head was by her vagina. They weren't like going at it to make my top 569 scenes, but she did kiss his flaccid penis, and that caused a huge sensation. Sweet. Yeah, she was like while they were talking, I watched it again before I did the show, and while they were talking, she keeps kissing, his limp penis. And
how is it not getting hard though?
Well, because they had just had sex and they were just kind of chilling. Yeah,
I got you.
It was more like she wasn't doing it so much to get him going. It was just like in her face, and she was kissing it. So
yeah, she was just being sweet and loving.
Yeah, right. And then like, to give you an idea, it was more affectionate than anything else. But to give you an idea, like how rare this is. So I was trying to think of what's the first blowjob scene in movies, and we were talking at the office, and actually we came out. It was actually a guy on guy scene. Now I'm talking I'm not talking about like some 8mm porno that your dad would watch on a fishing trip. I'm talking about something that it was like in Midnight Cowboy in 1969. John Voight, who plays a Times Square hustler, he picked a guy up who goes down on him in a movie theater, and this was pretty obviously very shocking, but that was an Academy Award winning movie, and it was 1969. So it's funny, but then I was trying to think, as I was making the list, like what's the first time I could remember in a mainstream movie, not counting like I Am Curious Yellow, a mainstream movie with stars you would recognize where either a girl was sucking a guy or a guy was going down on a girl. And I have to say, my best guess would be Don't Look Now from 1973. It was like a artsy horror movie with Donald Sutherland and Julie Christie. And this is one of the great moments in movie history because Donald definitely 100% had his face in her vagina, and she won an Academy Award. She was an Academy Award winning actress, and it's quick, but the scene goes on for a long time. The actual one where his face is in her vagina is pretty graphic, and that's one of the movies where when people ask me name a movie where they were rumored to be really having sex, Don't Look Now is always on the list of times where actresses and actors supposedly were having real sex. But that's pretty good. No question, Donald Sutherland's face was in her vagina, which is pretty cool.
Well, I want to see that.
Yeah.
That's interesting.
So that's a little history of the 69.
I love the history. That was awesome. I feel like I learned a little bit today.
Yeah, this is nothing like the history class you did in high school. But when I do history...
this one actually is meaningful.
Well, yeah, no, it was fun. It was fun. It's kind of fun to think of these things because they definitely are rare. And even when I was doing my hottest 69 scenes of all time, I actually went with some stuff that you definitely don't know about. But in all these instances, there's a reason either it's from a movie that is pretty well known, or the actors or actresses are, but some way, somehow, these are not like, this is not porno. This is from mainstream. So let me start with my top 5 favorite 69 scenes of all time in mainstream movies, and then we'll go into my favorite BJ scenes and my favorite girls getting gone down on. And so this should be fun for our 69th episode, Andrea.
Super fun. I'm literally smiling so big right now, my cheeks hurt.
It's a vertical smile. Yes.
Yeah, smiling both places. Let's do it.
You, of course, are an expert on this subject, Andrea. So
I am.
I can't wait for you to analyze this with me. So let me start with, and keep in mind, too, I didn't want simulated. Like, I wanted it to be where you could see the face in the muff and the muff in the face, but so yeah,
we don't want implied 69.
No,
we want action 69.
Yes, and where even if you were faking it, you're still got your face buried in there. So anyway, let me start with my number 5 favorite 69 scene of all time. It's actually from a movie from last year that I talked to you about. It was that movie The Bronze, that had Melissa Rauch, the girl from The Big Bang Theory, Bernadette with the big boobs. Now, caveat here, I'm very aware of the fact that this really truly isn't Melissa Rauch. It was they used a body double. The body double, though, was a real life acrobat named Michelle Durstein, who got her start working at Disney World when she was 9 years old. Anyway, the bottom line is she's I even think she was a Cirque du Soleil girl at one time, but they not only did Melissa Rauch need a body double for this, probably because the sex was so graphic, but without question, she needed the body double because it was the most acrobatic. Yeah, it was the most acrobatic sex scene ever, where it's a movie about a gymnast, and she's Melissa Rauch's character is having the craziest sex you ever saw with another gymnast, and every move is like, coordinated and spinning and push-ups and whatever. But during this wild scene, he's got the face in Michelle Durstein's bush while she's down on his cock, and it's a pretty wild. The whole scene itself is amazing, but this 69 moment is just awesome from The Bronze in 2016.
This scene is great. When we've talked about this scene for other reasons, we love it. I mean, it just makes me so happy. I think it's so fun when you still as an adult, like you play Superman with someone or they spin you around, you know what I mean? And then when you throw in 69 on top, plus like real gymnastic skill, I mean, it's like, I'm jealous. I want to do this.
Yeah, it was cool.
I want to do this.
Yeah, you have to, and even the guy had to be a gymnast. Like, I don't know who he is. I could care less. But you really had to be an athlete to do this sex scene, and it's actually very funny too. So anyway,
we should probably tell the listeners, don't try this at home.
Oh no. Yeah.
I might, but I won't sue Mr. Skin if I break it.
Andrea, you must know I was working my own parallel bar when I saw this scene. So anyway, it was yeah. So
better than the uneven bars.
Oh boy, you don't want an uneven bar when you're anyway, so that was my 5th best in honor of our 69th episode, as we kind of have fun with some great moments in 69. This one is so spectacular. This was cool too. I got to tell you a little side story. So last year, I live in a nice suburb of Chicago, and we have very nice, well-to-do people in my town. And one of the housewives from my town knows what I do for a living. And at a party, she came up to me and told me, "Oh my God, my husband and I went to see The Handmaiden. Do you know about this movie?" And I'm like, well, it's kind of what I do for a living. Yes, I know all about it. And she's like, she thought it was the hottest thing she ever saw. And it was just kind of one of those things where most guys in their hometowns don't have housewives coming up and talking. See, they're able to talk to me about 69s and it's still not too awkward. Does that make sense? Like in my world? Yeah.
Yes,
so it's just a cool thing. So it even made one of the women from my town go nuts. But The Handmaiden was a South Korean adaptation of a British novel that has actually a perfect name for a story. Listen to this, a story about lesbians.
I've seen this. Tell the listeners. This is fucking nuts.
The name of the book is Fingersmith. How the hell is that? I mean,
Jesus.
Yeah, I mean, it's a book about lesbians. But anyway, this Min Hee Kim and Tyree Kim in The Handmaiden at the hour and 39-minute mark. Andrew, I mean, is this not 69ing at the? I mean, this is ridiculous. Yeah.
This was okay. So I watch a lot of Korean movies, like a lot. And
I got it.
I'm married to a Korean, and it's like, and I've always thought Korean men are super sexy, super fine, but I've never really found the women to be erotic in any way. I've never been like, damn, I want to fuck her.
Right.
I watched this movie. I was so turned on.
Yeah, I could imagine.
I was just like, this was the first time I've ever seen a Korean movie where there was any sort of girl anything, where there was even just kissing or anything. This was like so over the top for Korean cinema. Yeah. But it wasn't, I mean, this scene is so hot. These two girls are completely naked, writhing. They're like twins in a way, but they're not. Yeah. It's just so hot. It goes on for a long time. And there's also just incredible oral scenes in this. I mean, it's like nonstop hookup train. Yeah. And I will say, if people like fucked up movies, because this is a fucked up movie, see The Handmaiden.
Yeah. No question about it. And the funny thing is that both the actresses' last name is Kim, but they are not related. This is not that'll be, I have another list for my best family skin scenes, but this is not one. So Min Hee Kim and Tyree Kim in The Handmaiden, my fourth favorite 69 moment, and it's great. Smoking. Now my third one is more funny than anything, but I am just so blown away by this.
This is hilarious.
I had to include this because I've never seen, from an outrageous standpoint, I've never seen anything like this. In fact, I had to revisit my content department today to like go over this movie one more time to make sure I understand like what the hell is this all about. So anyway, there's a new movie that's actually out. It's called Assholes. We've mentioned this a little in the podcast, but it played at the South by Southwest Film Festival in March. It came out in very limited release this year, like, probably some theater in a guy's basement. But basically, it's about these Betsy Brown, nobody you've ever heard of, and Jack Dunphy, who are recovering addicts, and they relapse on poppers. And
what's a popper?
Well, funny you should ask, because there was a great story from the Mr. Skin offices today. So we just hired a new guy in the content department named Matt. Great guy. Okay. I literally walked in there to talk to my content team about this movie, because I was like, I got to talk about this on the podcast, but I want to make sure that I've seen the scenes, but what the hell, who made this movie? What's the story behind it? And it's just like an over-the-top, gross-out comedy. It's like a John Waters tradition, that type of tradition movie. But anyway, so I go back there, and this new guy, Matt's there, and he's listening. I introduce myself. It's his first day at the office. So, and I go to my contact guy, said the exact same question you asked me. I go, what's a popper? And Matt chimes up. He goes, oh, it's like anal nitrate. It's you take it and it dilates your asshole so that you could have it's easier to have oral sex.
Wait, it's a what that you what? Back that up.
Yeah, it's used for gay men. A lot use it for anal sex, and it's
but it's a drug.
Yeah, no, it's something you inhale. Now, listen, I'm no expert on this. It's like gas, some sort of gas you inhale. Okay. Yeah.
Okay. No pun intended. And it expands your asshole?
It does something to allow for easier anal penetration. Okay. That's all you need to know.
I thought I knew almost everything about sex.
I didn't know this either.
Stuff. I had no idea. Okay, so they relapsed on these poppers.
Yes. So anyway, Matt on his first day, I look over at him. I go, man, you're already paying dividends. I have a show to do. I would have just said poppers and been like, I have no idea what that is. So anyway, he knew this, and basically what happens is, they basically literally turn into assholes. It's a crazy movie. But anyway, forgetting that, this Jack Dunphy, who's kind of a pretty fat dude, and this Betsy Brown is a hot blonde.
Yeah.
There is a scene in there where they are doing anal 69, and I've never seen a guy and a girl in a mainstream movie, and I say mainstream because it played at South by Southwest, but this is like unbelievable. And it's not, I won't say it's sexy, but it's
kind of sexy. The more I watch it, it's kind of sexy because it's very realistic.
Oh my God.
I don't know how many times you've gone into an asshole, but when you're prying it open
asshole,
and pushing, it will, for me, it'd be on a man, but it like pulling the hair aside and getting all in there. Yeah.
Well,
opening it up.
So I'm thinking, what do you call a 69 where it's anal 69? We're going to call it like a brown eye 69? Like, what do you call it?
That's what I was just thinking. Yeah.
I don't know. Yeah. We'll have to come up with that. But where you're 69ing, but you're there for the asshole. And I'm telling you, these two, we all here at the Skin offices, we feel they were really eating asshole in the scene. Like, I mean,
oh
I don't know.
my!
Yeah.
I mean, the way they're attacking it seems very realistic. Yeah. I mean, we could even give it this to Betsy and say Betsy Brown Eye 69.
Well, I'm going to go with this. How about this name? A shitty 9. Where you're where you're eating asshole, and it's unbelievable. So anyway, getting back to this, the name of the movie is called Assholes. We have it at MrSkin.com. It's, like I said, very outrageous, gross out comedy, but I've never seen anything like this scene that's flashing back to all different positions of ass eating and the shitty 9. That is something I've never seen in a movie. So that made number 3 on my list. And this was hot off the press too, because this is one of the newer things we have at our website. So.
Wow.
Yeah. All right. Getting back to, in honor of the 69 episode of Mr. Skin podcast, this is just such a sexy scene that I can't stand it. It's from the History of Violence, Maria Bello and Viggo Mortensen in that scene. Like, remember, she walked in the movie in a cheerleader outfit and to seduce him. And next thing you know, they're on the bed. He's got his face, and she wasn't wearing her little panties. Yeah, the bloomers under the skirt. She's sucking dick. He's eating box. It is, in a mainstream film, one of the hotter scenes I've ever seen, and definitely in my top 5. And I have it at number 2, my top 5 69 scene in a mainstream film.
Yeah, it's super hot because it's passionate and it's realistic, and they're writhing around, and the way he's grabbing her ass from the back, and it's super, super sexy. And of course, Maria Bello, her legs are incredible. And so when you get that full view of her like beautifully sculpted legs and like his face coming through the middle, and it's fucking hot.
Yeah, and I love how he's grabbing her ass too to like pull it closer. So like I said, as far as mainstream films go, it doesn't get much better than Maria Bello and Viggo Mortensen. In a History of Violence, at the 18-minute mark, her in the cheerleader outfit. There's so many good things about this. So, it's so good. So that's number 2 on my list. But Andrew, before we get into my number 169 scene, let's talk about our sponsor for today. There are some pretty incredible cam girls on their site, aren't they?
Oh, totally. So StreamMate is a little different than most other cam sites because the site is totally free, which means you can talk with all the beautiful models in party chat without paying a dime. So there are thousands of models broadcasting at any point in time, including porn stars like Diamond Jackson, Gina Lynn, Amy Fisher, Ashton Blank, and amateur hotties like Emma Lovett, Cassie Nicole, and so many more. So StreamMate partners with some of the biggest adult sites out there. So if you have a favorite performer, chances are you may be able to find her for a personal session. And we know you guys want to check out some of the best shows in camming. So head over to StreamMate.com right now.
Yeah, and again, thanks so much, StreamMate, to be a sponsor of the Mr. Skin podcast. But Andrea, I have to get to my number 1 mainstream 69 scene in the history of movies, and I know this
literally in the history of movies.
Oh
like,
my
this
God,
is it.
Yeah, this is it. This will not, you will not disagree with me on this. I know it's Lea Seydoux and Adele Exarchopoulos in Blue is the Warmest Color from 2013 at the hour and 20-minute mark. It is, not only is this my favorite 69 scene of all time, this is also the greatest lesbian scene of all time. Andrea, this scene goes on for 9 minutes. Yes, it is. And
oh my God.
Yeah, one is like a student and the other one's a little older, but oh my God, their affair is so hot. But this scene, they've talked about, I don't know how the director got these two girls to do this. They're French actresses, but both beautiful, both young. Yeah, well, yeah, but I mean, this is like, I almost felt when I first saw this, like, wait, did I accidentally stumble on like, a tube porn site, or is this from a real movie? I mean, this was at the Cannes Film Festival. This was like, this is a real big time movie. Yeah.
They're doing the damn thing. They're not faking it. You can see it. Like, this is like actual, we always thought, is it real? Are they wearing pussy patches? You can see it all. It's crazy.
Yeah. And they're beautiful too. I want to stress, gorgeous actresses. These are not like, these are not only good actresses, but beautiful, beautiful girls. And this is just like, it's basically as hot as it gets. And like I said,
as hot as it gets.
Yeah, we've talked about some great lesbian scenes, but this always is number one due to the fact it also goes on for 9 minutes. And it's in perfect lighting, and they're just going down, and it is so much fun to watch. So it's from Blue is the Warmest Colors, my favorite 69 scene of all time.
It's definitely the best. And the camera angles, there's no shyness about this.
Nope.
So it's like you can watch an entire movie and also have like a little mini sex movie in it because it's 9 minutes.
Oh yeah. Oh no.
It's
no
great.
question about it. No question about it. So anyway, so those were my favorite 69 scenes. But Andrea, in honor of the 69, I thought, you know what? Let me also talk about some great moments in going down, and
totally.
one of the things I wanted to do was my best celebrity BJs, and what I mean by this is not simulated BJs. Like, I'm talking about where an actress really has her mouth on the penis and is someone in a mainstream film or someone we would know for sure. And one is I'm going to do 3 of these, and then I'm going to do 3 where the girls were going down on because on time here. But let me start with, and I hope you could see this because it's really sexy. It's Lauren Lee Smith in Lie With Me from 2005. And
I'm watching it.
Yeah, Lauren Lee Smith is she's great. I remember she was on The Listener, a TV show, for about 3 years. What else was she on? CSI Crime Scene Investigation. She did a couple seasons on there. She played Riley Adams on that show. She's The L Word is another one there. She was on there for a couple seasons. She is definitely a mainstream actress. In this movie, Lie With Me, at the 22-minute mark, she goes down on a guy and has the penis in hand and the whole thing. And the scene is just super sexy. And she has a ton of great nudity and sex in it. But you just don't see a mainstream actress grabbing erect penis like that. And
you don't see an erect penis like that. And the fact that she's not only gripping it and stroking it and she's, about to go down on it. Yeah. She has the fuck me eye down. She's got the DSLs. Yep. I just
love this. And it's because like I said, because it's from a celebrity and it's in a mainstream film, just really cool. But yeah, Lie With Me, when it came out in 2005,
I want to know who that guy is.
What guy? I didn't even notice him. Even notice him. Yeah. But anyway, it was very shocking that Laura Lee, even though she had done The L Word previously, it was still kind of shocking that she did this. So I think that guy, do you remember 6 Feet Under? I think that guy was on the TV show 6 Feet Under, if I'm not mistaken. I can't remember his name, but I'm pretty sure he was on that.
He looks like Eric Balfour to me, but I don't know if that's the same person.
Yeah, we'll figure it out. We'll find someone on my crack staff will get a name. But yeah, I'm pretty sure he was on 6 Feet Under for a while. Not one of the main characters, but he was on the show. But anyway, nice penis, nice Lauren Lee Smith, and the whole thing. But it's called
super sexy.
Yeah, it's called Lie With Me from 2005. Very hot. Now, my second favorite celebrity BJ. This one's this is interesting because it's hard for us, no pun intended, it's hard for us to tell if this is a prosthetic or a real penis, and it doesn't change the greatness of it because of how just into it Morgan Saylor is, but you definitely see penis in mouth. The question is,
oh yes,
the question is, what is it, a real penis or is it a prosthetic penis or whatever? But let's not worry about that for the second. First of all, it's Morgan Saylor and White Girl from 2016, and this happened just early on, like 7 minutes in. Now, she's best known as Dana Brody, the teenage daughter everybody loved to hate on the first 3 seasons of Homeland. Remember that?
Exactly.
You know who I'm talking about, right?
Yes, because I had a love-hate with that character too.
Yeah. Yeah, it was weird because people wanted her to shut up. They were, So anyway, and the actor is Justin Bartha, who everybody's looking for in The Hangover. Yeah, and anyway, so it's a wild thing where she's dating a drug guy who gets put away, and then she tries to keep the biz going, but it's called White Girl. There is some incredible sex and nudity from Morgan Saylor, but she had a couple BJ scenes in this, but this one in particular, it is such a hot scene. She's down there going crazy, and she's going nuts. Yes. They do show something in her mouth. It's just the angle is such that it's hard to say for sure. We're guessing probably a prosthetic just because they could, but you can't really tell, and I don't know for sure, but what a hot scene from Morgan Saylor, formerly of Homeland. The scene is
off the charts hot, not only because she just going to town on this cock, but I really think it has to be a prosthetic because I've interviewed Justin Bartha, and he's kind of a prudish dick. So
okay.
I was not too impressed with his open-mindedness.
Got it.
So I would just say, based on what I know about him personally, I think it's a prosthetic. But I'm like, that's him in this scene. I couldn't even imagine doing this scene.
But
she's killing it.
Yeah, and it truly doesn't take away from the greatness of it because how much she's enjoying it and how violent it is, and she's not just licking penis, she is sucking penis.
She's deep throating it. His hand, like when you put your hand on the back of someone's head and are like guiding it. Yeah, it's hot and fast and heavy. He has her hair in a ponytail with his fist. It's amazing. So when I see a simulated BJ or a real BJ or whatever, I don't even care if it's I don't care if it's a prosthetic or not because it shows me what the girl would do anyway.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? It doesn't matter.
Mind, you just don't get mainstream celebrities sucking cock on camera unless it's like stolen from their cell phone. I'm talking about this
exactly.
This has to be in a mainstream film. Yeah. So if you haven't seen White Girl, by the way, it won Best breast picture last year in my Anatomy Awards. So it's a skin classic, and you definitely should check it out. So anyway, Andrea, let's talk about the best BJ scene in the history of movies, and there is no question whether that was real or a prosthetic here. It is the skinfamous.
That's real?
Oh yeah, it is.
Oh my God, that's real?
Oh yeah, it's Chloe Sevigny and Vincent Gallo in The Brown Bunny from 2003, the hour and 21-minute mark, the famous blowjob scene. It's
holy
I remember
shit.
Roger Ebert walked out of I'm pretty sure he walked out of the theater when he was seeing this at the Cannes Film Festival.
Oh, come on.
Yeah, no, it is. It's one of the most notorious and controversial sex scenes of any kind, and definitely the most talked about oral sex scene ever. I remember him and Vincent Gallo had a war of words after that. Ebert he didn't walk out because there was a blowjob. He walked out because he thought it was one of the most boring movies he ever saw. But
really?
Yeah, you know this about me, Andrea. I never care if a movie's good or bad. I just care about the nudity and
right.
Vincent Gallo, he's like an actor, a filmmaker, a painter, a musician. He's like, this Renaissance man. And he did this movie and somehow, some way got Chloe Sevigny, who, is a big time actress.
Big time actress.
Many different things. Big Love was one, many different, American Psycho, the whole thing. She's been in so many movies and television and,
Boys Don't Cry,
Boys
American
Don't Cry,
Horror
Kids,
Story,
American Horror Story.
I mean,
you got it.
Yeah.
So there she is sucking Vincent Gallo off. It's just unbelievable that she did this. And I've never really read articles, I probably should have, of what she was thinking, how she feels after she did it. She's
like that, though. I feel like she's the only actress who would have done this. Honestly,
I can't think of the mainstream
like
actors.
that.
Yeah. So again, in honor of our 69th episode,
wow.
Yeah, in honor of our 69th episode, the
I
greatest blowjob scene in the history of mainstream movie, Chloe Sevigny and Vincent Gallo, who I do believe dated at one point, so that might have been a little easier for her to do this. But boy, oh boy, to do this in a mainstream film.
I'm not trying to suck my ex's dick on film. That'd be, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Unless I was just really trying to rub it in.
Well, hey. Anyway, so
that's funny.
Those are so I've done my best 69 scenes, my best BJ scenes. So now I want to do a quick list of my 3 favorite celebs getting gone down on.
Yes.
Whoa. Andrea, it's time for the Wheel of Skin.
I forgot about it.
Yeah,
so
I do
funny.
too.
I love how it just popped
CP
up.
the EP just throws this at me. This is the fun thing where I go through. I, of course, am Pat Say Jack Off. You are
Vagina White.
Yes, and this is a Merck and Griffin production where CP the EP just randomly from our 27,000 actresses at MrSkin.com, he pulls up an actress that I can talk about and give you a little background on her and her skinography. And CP, who did you... oh, no, you don't know yet. So spin the wheel and let me know who you come up with.
And we have Jennifer Lopez.
Ooh,
Jennifer Lopez. Interesting. Okay.
Now, okay, so if I start talking J-Lo, I would start by saying that one of the cool things, if you ever see old video of her from the early 90s when she was a fly girl on Living because she was so sexy. Really, that was her young J-Lo back then. But
what a great dancer.
Oh, my God, yeah. Well, when I realized who she was, the big thing for me, I had just started MrSkin.com, and remember at the 2000 Grammys when she wore that Versace tropical print green dress, she was with Puff Daddy at the thing. And here's the other thing that really shocked me. Now, as a guy who grew up in the 70s and 80s, I was not used to thinking a big ass was hot. Does that make sense? Like it wasn't in my DNA. It makes sense
still to me, and I was, born in the 80s and 90s.
Right,
right.
So. Well, as a guy who grew up where you would be like, wow, check out that ass. Like a J-Lo ass was not even in my radar. And I remember there were a ton of pictures of her in that Versace dress, but when her and Puff Daddy like turned around and walked away, I was like, holy geez, I've never seen an ass like that. But this was like before Kim Kardashian and the whole the bootylicious stuff.
The booty explosion.
Yeah, and I remember, now this is like 2000 when this was all hitting me, and I was like, I was confused. I was like turned on, but then I was also like kind of turned off because I wasn't. But now I've kind of adjusted 17 years later. Like I'm used to that, and I kind of see the hotness of it. But I remember it was shocking for me when I first saw J-Lo's big booty.
I will say, J-Lo's butt in person is not even like that big to me.
Oh, really? Okay.
I think for the time, just as you said, for the time it was big because we were used to, waif models and, girls with just really big natural boobs and tiny, tiny booties. So I think in comparison to what was popular and considered sexy, like Pam Anderson's butt, for example, tiny, it was big, but when I saw it in person, I was like, that's considered a big butt. And this was after, of course, the Kardashians had come out and all that shit.
Right, I see. Yeah.
So I think for a natural butt, J-Lo has a perfect ass.
Oh, that's awesome.
It's not
I've never
too
seen
big.
it in person, unlike yourself. So
it's great.
Yeah, well, let's real quick to give you her skinography. She's been naked twice. What? I
didn't even know that.
Yeah, no, a lot of people don't. Well, both the movies she was naked in are before she hit it big. So she did a movie in 1995, and I used to get asked this all the time, especially in the early days of my website. she did a movie called Money Train with Wesley Snipes, and 54 minutes in, they're having sex. And what you forget because of the booty is she has a great rack, and it's a really hot sex scene where Wesley Snipes
has really perky boobs.
Yeah, and back in '95 they were super perky, and he's grabbing them, and it's a really hot scene. She also had a brief nude scene in an Oliver Stone, Sean Penn flick from about '97 called U-Turn, and you only see her left breast during a flashback sex scene, but it's really awesome. It's actually even better lighting than the Wesley Snipes scene. I'd still go Money Train as my go-to J-Lo, but U-Turn is a nice chaser to see left boob. But anyway, that was a great Wheel of Spin, CP, the EP, and J-Lo's a great Wheel of Skin candidate, so thanks a lot. So, all right.
She hasn't been on my mind in so long. That was cool.
Yeah, cool. Good for me. So anyway, so let me finish up. We don't have a lot of time. I want to get to my 3 favorites in honor of our 69th episode. Our 3 favorite celebs getting gone down on. So in other words, I've done BJ's. Now, how about girls, someone going down on a girl? And let me start with number 3. We've talked about this ad nauseum, but it's so awesome. The second I saw it, I knew this was a Skinston classic. Is Allison Williams from Girls from January 11th, 2015, season 4, episode 1, where that Evan Moss Backrack, who plays Desi, in the kitchen, goes down on her, and I don't care what the crap I read where she had like some padding in there or whatever. His face is in the ass, and it's just ridiculous. And by the way, Andrea, when they released season 4 on Blu-ray, they had outtakes. And I gotta tell you, the outtakes were even hotter because they were mugging to the camera, and Desi's like waving, and she's waving to the camera, and his face is in there, and it was almost hotter because it was more real. You know what I'm saying? I don't know if that makes sense, but it was cool. So we have the outtakes and this actual scene that premiered on January 11th of 2015 at our website. But without question, one of the most famous celebrity getting gone down on in movie or TV history.
I don't know.
Yeah, what do you say? But you can't, that guy, even if she was wearing something, her butt cheeks are surrounding his face.
And he's in there. He's in there because the way her butt cheeks are jiggling, it's like, that's not just a mild, the tip of my nose. That's like his full face is slapping those puppies left and right.
He's engulfed.
He's engulfed in the cheeks.
Yes.
I'm like, I don't know. I'm speechless.
I know. It's just every time I see this. We've talked about this
so many times, and it's like, it's still speech. I'm like, it's just fucking ridiculous, and it's such a hot, great way.
Yeah. Well, let me tell you then my second favorite celebs getting gone down on. I think part of it's because it's from a great show. Part of it's because the girl's so hot. But the other part of it is because the guy's head's buried in a place that is just got to be heaven. It's Emmy Rossum in Shameless. Her. Yeah, it happened. This actually only happened like a couple weeks after the Allison Williams thing. This happened in 2015, and a couple seasons ago on Shameless. But boy, that was a good month when these things happen. So she's calling in. So her boyfriend, this muscular dude's going down on her. He's got his head buried in her vagina. She's completely nude, and she's calling like work to try to not have
call
to come
out
in
of her shift.
To call off her shift of a waitress. And he's like going down, and she's loving it, and she's almost about to have an orgasm. She's trying to talk to her boss. It's actually a funny scene, but it's so freaking hot that the star of the show is letting a guy bury his head in her vagina, and she's completely naked. Pretty great stuff.
Dude, Emmy Rossum is a top-notch actress. She's absolutely beautiful, and she's fearless in Shameless. And I love this. I can't get enough of it. I think this was an excellent pick because the caliber of the show, the actress, the lighting, the nudity, the muff diving, you name it, it's on it. I love it.
Yeah, and like I said, I mean, Donald Sutherland and Julie Christie I considered for this thing too, but it was just that it was so quick, that moment. The sex scene was great overall, but the face and the muff. But in this one, that guy really buried in there, and I just thought it was awesome. So anyway,
right on.
So again, this has been a ton of fun. But in honor of our 69th episode, my favorite celebrity getting gone down on, and you got to watch this again to really appreciate how amazing this was, especially when you consider the celebrity status of the woman. But it was a movie from 1993. It's Madonna and Willem Dafoe in Body of Evidence at the 56-minute mark. And this was like
wow.
Yeah, it was just the year after Basic Instinct came out, and it was kind of a rip-off of Basic Instinct, and Madonna was the Sharon Stone of this, and she was the most famous woman in the world when she did this, so you factor that into this, and that's why it's number one on the list. But she was full on. She's wearing garter and
thigh-high stockings, yeah.
Thigh highs, no panties, and Willem Dafoe has got. She's like, it's in a parking garage, so she's like on a car, and they're like holding. She's holding on to some things above her, and his face is buried into Madonna's vagina, and they are going at it. And again, I want to say, in 1993, when this came out, she was the most famous woman in the world, and obviously still very famous. But how amazing is this? You forget that this was an NC-17 film. You forget how graphic this was.
This is incredible. She is literally straddling his face, riding his face, writhing around. You can see the angle where she's facing the camera, and he's going like on it. Like, This is not, I'm just going to put my face in here, get the shot. This is like they're doing the damn thing. This is ridiculous. And like you said, Madonna, most famous woman ever. Willem Dafoe, incredible actor. I can see why this is number one. Who, by the way, is supposed to have one
of the hugest packages in Hollywood. So,
oh, really?
Yeah. And I wonder if Madonna's saying into his microphone because, they had to have some sort of relationship on set. So, rumor has it they hooked up, but good for him. Well, in the movie they did, that's scene, for sure. Yeah.
How could you do this scene with someone? You're literally eating their pantyless box.
Yeah.
It's a long, drawn-out scene, and then to not be like totally turned on and want to bone them in your trailer later. I mean,
and by the way, Madonna had other great nude scenes in this, especially with the candle wax in her boobs, and she had a lot of good nude scenes. But this scene is my favorite celebrity getting gone down on in honor,
it's awesome,
Andrea, of our 69th episode of the Mr. Skin podcast. And this was a ton of fun for me to put this together. And by the way, next week for our 70th episode, I will have a lot to get caught up on, because listen to this. Next week, November 5th, Sunday night, listen to this. We have Shameless Season 8 on Showtime.
What?
Yes. That's with, Emmy Rossum, Shanola Hampton, and Ruby Modine, Matthew Modine's daughter, all still in the cast, obviously.
Yes.
And we'll expect some great nudity from them. So we got that on Sunday. I got Smilf with Frankie Shaw on Showtime, The Single Mother I'd Like To. That's coming Sunday. And then Girlfriend Experience Season 2 on the Starz Network. Now, Riley Keough's out. It's like more of an anthology thing, but they got Louisa Krause, Carmen Ejogo, and Anna Friel. So I'm looking forward to that. So all three of those shows debut Sunday, not to mention all the other stuff. And I'll wrap up the season finale of The Deuce, so we'll have tons of TV nudes to talk about next week. But anyway, I had to do this in honor of our 69th episode for the podcast.
Well, Skin, it's so funny because I'm not really a fan of 69 in general because it takes way too much concentration. Good thing for me, though, I can just concentrate on your top 69 picks instead, because this was awesome. This might have been some of the just most fun I've had. There was shocking stuff, sexy stuff, funny stuff, and a lot of ass-eating stuff. So I think you hit the
shitty
nail on the
nine
head.
is a new term that we've come up with. The shitty nine is when you do a 69 but only eat ass. So that came out of this podcast. But yeah, it was a ton of fun for me to put together, but it'll also be good to catch up next week on all the great TV nudity, including all three of those shows that are going to debut Sunday, November 5th.
Absolutely. And let's remind the listeners, if you have a question that you'd like Mr. Skin to answer on the show, call us 484-SKIN-POD and leave us a voicemail with your question or comment, and they'll pick the best ones, and Mr. Skin will respond on air. So super cool, epic episode, and I'm dying for episode 70 already, too. Really great job.
All right, Andrea, thanks.
Have a great rest of your week.
Take care.
This concludes another scintillating episode of the Mr. Skin Podcast. Subscribe to the Mr. Skin Podcast in iTunes and never miss a show. Thanks for listening.